Hi guys, welcome back to Irish Footy Vlogs. Just before I get started, just have to apologise for this week. I'm going solo, as you can see, but I've been unwell the last couple of days, just flu-y and stuff. I won't go into the details, but it's still not great now. I can't even look at a screen for more than 10 minutes, honestly. So, yeah, look, I decided I'd go ahead and do the Premier Division and First Division previews anyway. I'm going solo. It's worked out that way because some of the guys, it just hasn't fitted, so the stars haven't aligned this week. But we'll be back to normal next week, hopefully, guys. But again, apologies for that, and I'll do the best I can. First game we can talk about anyway is Shelbourne and Dundalk at Tolka Park. Now, Shelbourne, last time out, obviously, were beaten 1-0 by Derry, and recently drew 0-0 with UCD as well. I've seen them play Drogheda as well, where they won 2-0, and obviously the 3-0 defeat to Pats. 2 goals in 4 games. It's something to highlight at the start of the season, although I think the squad has improved that. I found it difficult to see where the goals would come from this season for Shelbourne. I think you have that in the 4 games so far. It's not just the 2 goals, it's generally the chances they've created in the 4 games haven't created an awful lot. Even the win and Drogheda, to be honest with you, they didn't really create an awful lot. Goals came from mistakes more than anything else. So, they're at Tolka Park, obviously. 2 games at Tolka Park, no goals. So the fans will be looking to celebrate a goal at least this time. Dundalk are unbeaten. 1 win, 3 draws. The last time out was a 0-0 draw in Sligo. I've seen that on the LOI TV. It wasn't a very good game. Pitch was poor, to be fair. I did think Stephen O'Donnell was a little bit over the top when he went into his criticism, because we don't really know why the reasons why the pitch was poor. And look, it was a battling point at the end of the day for Dundalk, as it was for Sligo. But to go into this game, as I said, unbeaten. I think, unlike Shells, they can score goals, but I do think they've issues at the back. Not really highlighted too much against Sligo because of the pitch and just the way the game generally played. But Shelbourne are surely going to score in this game, aren't they? The first home game of the season where they're going to score, surely. Will they get a result is the question. I think Dundalk might have too much firepower for them. Look at Stephen Bradley starting very well. Hooben is always a threat when it comes to goals. They've got the likes of Daniel Kelly, who can score goals. He's been playing a bit more games recently as well. So the options are there, I think, for them to score goals. And it's hard to see Shelbourne keeping a clean sheet, even though they defended quite well since the Pats game overall, it has to be said, where they didn't defend well. But, Shelbourne could do with a big win here to announce themselves, if you like, in the league. And it'd be a big, big win if they could get it. But I see Dundalk winning this one, guys. As a result, I'm going to go for, I think Shells will get a goal, but I think they might lose 2-1 at home. Now, the next match I'm looking at is Drogheda and Sligo Rovers. Now, Drogheda had a much welcome victory the last day against UCD, where they won 4-2. Chris Lyons with a couple of goals, Deegan in that game as well, and Dean Williams with a lovely finish as well. And they seemed to play Williams and Lyons had a bit more support. Again, I saw them live against Shelbourne, and I thought it was a little bit isolated in the attacking third. I think that was rectified against UCD, to be fair. Poynton was back in the side, by the way, and had a good game at right back as well. I think all their goals came from that side of the field as well. But I just think someone like Dean Williams will help the likes of Chris Lyons as well. Now, maybe they can't do that in every game. They have to change it up a little bit, depending. But they do have players that they can do that with. So that was their first game of the season after what was a disappointing start to the season, particularly with that defeat at home, to Shelbourne. So it was a big, big boost, and very important they got that win against UCD, and overall did in convincing fashion. I know they'll be disappointed with the goals they conceded, but still, Sligo Rovers, you had the feeling that out of the teams that you're looking at in those European positions, they're the strongest defensively, I think. And that's showed really in the opening 3 matches. They've conceded 1 goal in the opening 3 matches. Now, you might argue the goals will be hard to come by as well. They've got 2. I do think they've got more of an edge up top, say, than Shelbourne do, to be fair. But they're very strong at the back. I mean, they'll be happy with the 4 points in the road at Pats and Derry City. And the 0-0 at home to Dundalk, they'd be a little disappointed maybe they didn't nick it, but still, you're looking at those fixtures and going, 5 points from them, you'll take them all day. They look at the draw of the game as an opportunity to go and get 3 points. So they will. I see this being a tight one. I don't think Drogheda will get the joy that they got against UCD going forward, and they're going to have to be careful with Sligo in transition, etc. I can see a cat and mouse game for quite a while, I think. Keane, I think, up front for Sligo started well. He scored 1 goal, but just his general play, it's a good start for him because he's struggled at a few clubs recently where he's kind of, I suppose he's been in and out on that kind of thing in a few clubs, and it's difficult to know where he is exactly, but his start would have pleased Liam Buckley and Sligo fans, I think. As I said, very solid at the back. I think Drogheda might struggle to break them down in this game. They struggle to break down Shelbourne, to be honest. But I think this one will be a draw, and I'm not sure who the happiest will be with the draw. It all depends on how the game pans out, doesn't it? But I'll go for a 1-1 draw, Drogheda and Sligo Rovers. The next match is in Ballybuffet, and that's Finn Harps taking on St Patrick's Athletic. And Pats have had an inconsistent start to the season: 2 wins, 2 defeats, 2 wins in Dublin derbies. That defeat at Bows and home to Sligo, where they were very poor in both games, it has to be said. But they were very good and energetic against Shamrock Rovers. Now they feel that going up to Finn Park to play Harps, there's no use beating Shamrock Rovers and say going up to Finn Park and putting on, I suppose, an inept display like they did at Dalymount in particular. Because I've said it before, if you put in a display like that in the league, you will be beaten. It doesn't matter who you are, you will be beaten. So nothing short of, good committed performance of Finn Harps will do. Because otherwise, you're not getting a result, to be honest with you. Finn Harps, from their point of view, 3 games, no wins. Struggling to get goals as well, to be fair. They've only scored 1 goal so far and conceded 4. They'll be a little disappointed with their start, actually. But they'll be quite happy and pleased with their draw against Bowls. And, of course, Connolly scored a fantastic goal in that game. But Pats will be looking at this, saying to themselves, look, we need to go up here and win. Because the performances were nowhere near good enough in those other games, and then they came out and performed against Shamrock Rovers. And I don't even mean performance as in quality of performance. That's not even what I'm talking about. You'll get games in the league where you play well and other games where you don't play well, and you have to grind out results. But you have to meet the standards of the opposition when it comes to 50-50 challenges, fight for the ball, work rate, teamwork, all that kind of thing. I do think Pats probably let themselves down against Bowes. I'm sure they'd admit that themselves in that regard. So, if they go up there and put in and meet Finn Harps head on, because Finn Harps will work hard, they will fight for each other, they will go for every 50-50 ball. So that's a requirement in this league. You have to do that every week, but if you don't, you'll be beaten. So Pats are going to be... It'll be interesting to see what Pats turns up, essentially. I think they will be inconsistent throughout the season. But with Finn Harps struggling to score goals, I do think the Pats' defence can be got at. And they might see an opportunity. They need a goal from a Mihailovic or Maddy, especially their strikers, to really set them off as well. The longer a striker goes without a goal, the less confident they get. In fact, Owen Doyle hasn't scored for Pats yet. He did score against Rovers in the President's Cup, but not in the league. I think Pats will make it. I think Finn Harps will score, but I think Pats might win this one 2-1. Now, on to the next match, and we have UCD and Derry, and it's very difficult, isn't it, to come up with an argument that UCD could win this game, in all honesty. So they probably will win the game. They've had a bad start, really, in terms of points. They've had 4 games, a couple of draws, 2 draws, no wins. The 2 draws they got were decent, the 2 0-0 draws. They're beaten at the opening day season against Shamrock Rovers. It can happen. But I think they'll be disappointed with their level of performance against Drogheda particularly. They're well beaten. 3-0 down at half time. They got it back to 4-2, but kind of glossed over it. They were 3-0 down, as I said, at half time, and 4-1 down in the match. So I think the problem for UCD is the longer it goes without a win, it's a young squad, as we all know, very young squad, inexperienced squad. And it's generally the way with UCD. But when you're not getting results, people will be looking at Longford and saying, are they the new Longford? I didn't think they'd be the new Longford, to be honest. I had them there for 10, to be fair, but I thought to myself they might get a lot more wins this season than Longford would. It is early doors, yes. At this stage last season, Derry City were bottom of the league. And I think they'd no points. Correct me if I'm wrong, Derry fans, but believe they'd no points after 4 matches, as far as I remember. So it's a long way to go. But the fact that they're new to the division, young and experienced, confidence is going to be fairly low, particularly after the draw of the result. And then if Derry come to town, Derry top of the league, all hype, let's say, with all the players they brought in. Higgins, very good manager, did a brilliant job last year and is continuing that this season, because you have to remember a bit of pressure rather on Derry coming into the season, because when you do bring in players of the quality they brought in and seemingly fitting into what they're trying to do, that does bring pressure. But they've dealt with it very well so far. 4 games, 2 wins, 2 draws. Nothing spectacular, let's say, but it's good form. It's good form, and it does have them top of the league. And they showed another side of them the other day. A side you will have to show if you're going to be challenged for the league, where you go to the likes of Shelbourne and struggle to break them down, but nick a 1-0 win. That's what you have to do, because you can't play brilliant football every week. In fact, most teams, even Shamrock Rovers, who won the league last year, played brilliant football for maybe 10 games out of the 36 that they played, let's say. So it's what you do in the other games. So Derry will be very happy with that. I see them going to UCD though and winning comfortably. It's very hard to say they won't. They still have Duffy to come back into the team, remember, as well. McGonagall's an excellent player, guys. His movement. Watched him last season and he caught my eye. I watched him in a game for 10 minutes. I was live at the game, without watching anyone else, because he just intrigued me the way he played, and he doesn't give defenders an inch. So even if he's not scoring or on form, a defender's going to be in a game. With all the attacking threat they have, Derry, it's very difficult to see them not scoring, UCD holding them out. And I do think UCD's confidence will be hit from that defeat in Drogheda. So I'm going to have to say 2-0 for the Candy Stripes. Right, next match, that's 4. Do we have another game? Maybe. Shamrock Rovers and Bohemians. It's the biggest derby in Irish football, let's be honest. It really is a massive game. It doesn't matter who's where in the table. As it stands, Shamrock Rovers will be disappointed with their start. 6 points from 4 games, 2 defeats on the road. Bows will be happy with their start overall. 3 games, 1 win, 2 draws. It's solid. 5 points. A win for Bows can lift them above Shamrock Rovers. And actually, if Bohemians won this, or if Shamrock Rovers lost it, from whatever point of view you want to look at it at, alarm bells would be starting to ring, I think, in Tala, because 3 defeats in 5 games would be serious. I know people are saying that a little bit at the moment. I don't think so, because I don't think, apart from possibly Derry, that anyone would be consistent enough to get a good points total that should win you the league. But with Shamrock Rovers, they could still lose 6 or 7 games and win the league, in my opinion. I mean, I think Pats obviously finished second last season. I think they lost 10. I still think you're going to have a bit of that this season. So, but they will want to show a bit of form, and there's no better game from a Shamrock Rovers point of view to come into after losing a couple of games away from home, particularly on the bounce, than Bohemians at home. If that doesn't, if they didn't have enough motivation, I mean, all the ingredients are there for them. So if they were to lose at home to their rivals, who've been solid so far, and have a good side but lost some players, I think it would be very concerning for Shamrock Rovers. I know Bows have a good record against them generally, mainly at Dalymount though. They don't tend to win in Tala too often. So I'm expecting fireworks at this game. It's going to be a sellout. 7,500, I believe, is the capacity. So I think it's a sellout, which is just, it's amazing. It's great, isn't it? For League of Ireland football, that we have big crowds, and hopefully that will continue. But from Stephen Bradley's point of view, I mean, there was a few players I noticed against Pats that were a bit narky as well. You know what I'm saying? I know when you're losing and that, you're not going to be very happy, but just one or two, a few bits. one of their players, I won't mention names, but one of their players came off and he wasn't happy about coming off, and one of the players told him to basically do one, essentially. Look, that can happen, to be fair, but it just shows that they're not right at the moment. But this is a chance for them. They would have trained this week to focus the minds, get right. They have a great squad of players. You know, that game against Pats, for example, they probably win that 1-0 last year in the 90th minute. You know what I mean? So, you know, sometimes luck can turn as well. And, you know, I expect Shamrock Rovers to come out firing in this game. I really do. And put on a performance. As for Bowes, they'll be missing Promise on Sherry, which is a big loss. I really like him. I know Keano said he prefers them wide, and I can see that point as well. But I do think he's still a handful up front with his power and pace, particularly against a high line. So he'll be a loss regardless. I think they've got Stephen Mallon playing, and he's back injury free, which is great to see. And obviously scored a winner against Pats. Bowes always raise their game against Rovers. And I think that hurts Rovers a little bit, I'll be honest, because sometimes, like, Rovers have had the better team for a few years, to say the least, to be honest. And it seems at times, and this is from a neutral perspective as well, looking at it, that Bowes are up for it more. And that would annoy me if I was a Shamrock Rovers fan. It's like, why can't you be really up for it? No, Rovers players probably say they are up for it, but the eye test tells me that Bowes are generally more up for it. So they'll want to prove a point, Rovers, surely, but from a Bowes point of view as well, probably go with Cassidy up front, so it'll be interesting to see how he does. They do have issues at the back, I believe, Bowes, and Rovers will look to exploit that. But from a Bowes point of view, I know they like to go at Rovers, and I get that, and it works for them. But at the same time, they need to make sure Rovers don't score early. I think there was a game in Tallaght Stadium in the last year or two where Rovers did beat them and they scored very early. So the way Rovers are playing at the moment as such, it might get a bit nervy if they don't score early enough in the match as well. And that's something Bowes might play on. You always feel Bowes can score in a game, though, no matter how they're playing. I know they're missing Georgie Kelly, he's gone, and Ross Tierney and stuff, and it takes a lot of goals out of the team. It's just the way they play, though, as well, that maximises the players in their team in terms of scoring goals. Like, I think Malin, Coote, I'm not sure if Burt will be back, guys. But these players can score goals as well. And, you know, you'd like to see Devoy, I think, from a Bowes point of view. I think higher up the pitch, I really do. I think he plays his best football when he's a bit higher up the pitch, to be honest, and he can create things. But he's been used generally as a build-up player in midfield at the moment. And he can do that. And he's probably the best Bowes player doing that. That's the problem. Sometimes when you get a player like that, he's very good in different aspects of the game, but I just think that potentially for Bowes and chance creation, they might be better off playing further up for their own sakes. It's hard to know, but Bowes are still very difficult to judge at the moment, so it'll be interesting to see after the first round of games what I think of them, if you like, after 9 games with Rovers. It's a big game for Rovers. It's a bigger game for Rovers, to be honest, and it's weird actually if you think about it. Like, in the last couple of years, when would you have said, and maybe that's the reason why Bowes have looked hungrier or such, but when have you said that, you know, it's a bigger game for Shamrock Rovers? Not very often. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. I'll be at Tallaght Stadium myself, lads, as well. So really looking forward to this game. Really looking forward to all the games over the weekend, guys. You know, I'm going to cross my fingers that I feel better by then, but I do feel a bit better now, to be honest with you. But hopefully I'm better because, you know, you don't want to go to a game feeling unwell, I suppose. But guys, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments. Sorry that's only myself solo this week. I did the best I could, to be honest. And we'll be back to normal next week. Subscribe if you're new. Hit your bell notification button. And like the video.